Oye, como va? Oh, yeah, baby. How y'all doing? Yes, jamming out to a little bit of Abraxas. Love this group because a lot of us got to see the bands, and we are we were there on the concert floor or up in the stands many times in an altered state of consciousness, which was cool because everybody else was. Why? That's what music does. So welcome everybody. Hello, Isby. How you doing, my friend? Want to get you on, brother. Let's see. Hey, favor be upon us all. I speak favor upon you all. And you know what? It's a seed. And as long as there's seed time, harvest time, hey, might as well get in on the good side of it, right? So welcome everybody. Bosto be of service to others. Hello, David Castle. How are you? Go, go. Tone, Deborah Sloan, much love. I have the maelstrom. Hello, Robin. Red Honey, good to see you as well. Julie Rose, Jules, good to see you. Hey, Ann, what's up? Joyce, hello, Andrew. Hey, DC Chill, good to see you, Lost in Space. Emperor Rec and Miss Nina the Mystic. How are you doing, my love? Gabriel and Jack Dreaming, what's up? John Price, Andrew, good to see you. William, man, just everyone piling on in. Come on. Bus hasn't quite left yet, so I'm not going to do it now. I'll wait, but let's see if we're practicing. And happy birthday if you have one, like my wife. Yes, my lovely wife, Lynn. It's her birthday today. And so, yeah, it's a good day. We are prospering, and that's the way we do it. So welcome, everybody. Cheers. Love the tea. Wow. Iced tea. There's just something about it. Got one the other day that had just a little bit too much pepper. Oh, yeah. That'll make you sit up really quick. So it's Robert V's birthday. Oh, tomorrow. All right. Well, happy birthday, Robert V. So good. Good to see you around another year. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Courtney, what's up? It is. I like that, Courtney. Yep. And I do love my wife. She is, you see, no matter what happens in life, you know, we have very evil people attacking us right now. And it's quite interesting because if it's happening here for no cause, it's amazing because that means there's a hell of a battle up in the ethereal. But anyway, it's where two people can come together, you know. You can find solace, peace, serenity, comfort, compassion, mercy, all the traits that religions say that their followers exhibit. You know, if it was true, well, we wouldn't see what we're seeing today. The fact is that you see today no mercy, you see no compassion, you see goodness being repaid with evil. You have those who scheme in places, and you find out that you have to ask yourself, why? I mean, if you adhere to a doctrine and yet your actions show little of it, I don't know, folks. So anyway, again, hey, Jenny, what's up, girl? Good to see you. Susie Q, good to see you as well. Teresa, hello. Project Skyfall. Brandy, you're a fine girl. Chloe, hello. I'll let David, I'll let Al know. I mean, no. Yeah. Hey, Joe Sapien, how are you, my friend? Is not evil has had, not sure what that is. It's going by pretty quick. You know, I have to do the speed reading. So, still thinking. Hey, Chloe, good to see you. I saw that. Let's see. Who else is all about? Hey, Street Mom, how you doing? Divine Empress. So our angel card, and I'm bringing this out. is he na nayaki. Hey Riel. I actually call that Ha Riel. This is the angel. I like this angel because I'm going to incorporate this because angels are thought forms. This angel is used to end arguments, disputes, change bad or negative energy. It will improve or resolve your atmosphere at home, bringing peace. You can use this angel to discover a peaceful pathway to success or new opportunities, void of stress and difficulty. You can use Hariel to improve or increase your magical powers and abilities for success. Like this angel. And so next week, and there is one other one. Let me show you this one. I got Karen, Queen of Courts, and Big Al coming on next Thursday because the cards, I think they're about ready. They're going to make an announcement. So this is, you can see that these are, I believe these are the proofs, aren't they, Al? Karen, if I am correct on this, but look at these folks. Are these not really cool? You have the Psalms, that is the invocation, which, you know, the book of Psalms it's a book of spells. Yeah. People don't look at it like that. You know, they think that there was some dude out in the middle of nowhere, you know, playing some ancient type of harp, and don't think it was quite that way, but you know, it paints a nice serene picture. But nevertheless, if you read the book of Psalms, and if you can take yourself out of the religious context, there's a lot of wisdom in there, like in the book of Proverbs. Psalms 128:4, behold, for so shall the man be blessed and divinely favored who fears the Lord and worships him with obedience. Now, you know, it's a different way. Worship, that's up to you. You know, some philosophers say that worship is really identified more as to how a person treats themselves. But anyway, I like the divinely favored on there. Yeah, all over the place. Beautiful cards. Al, thank you, Karen, for all the work on there. And, you know, they'll tell you the story on it next week. iSpick, YouTube app has been pissing me off. Lots of times I click on the video, no sound. I got to click on a different video and then come back to the video. Yeah. It's like the rat said, forget the cheese. Just get me out of the trap. Absolutely. All right. So, what are y'all seeing? I'm going to stare at this, concentrate, and I'm sending actually a thought of what this card kind of represents. How many of you are seeing it? I'll give it about another 5-10 seconds. It's firmly implanted in my consciousness, sending it out to everybody. Well, you can't see in the glasses, can you? Well, I was wondering, you know, no, but let's see. I hope you're practicing. And speaking of which, tomorrow we're going to be focusing in on Sunday. Want to thank Lucky Smith, Francis, Courtney Mack, and Linda Brooks. They've been helping on this. You'll be getting an email from, if you've signed up then you will be getting an email from one of those three. I believe it's how it's worked, but we'll get into it tomorrow. This is going to be fun, folks. Fun, fun, fun. And she'll have fun, fun, fun when her daddy takes her T-bird away. Let's see. How are we doing? I don't think y'all understand. No. These are the ESP cards. Come on, folks. You know that these are the ESP cards, right? You know the standard shapes, right? Yeah. Geez. Okay, no clubs, no diamonds, no. We'll deal poker afterwards. Oh, y'all crack me up. Oh, mercy, 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 mercy. Oh, at least no one said an ace of club or anything, you know. Folks, come on. You've got to, if you're going to take this serious, you're going to have to practice. You just can't guess. I mean, and if you practice, you get better at it. You really do. So anyway, no one got it. And so we'll continue. We'll continue. That's the best way to do it. Oh, no, that's just funny. I'm going to have to remember that one for a while. All right. So in Manly P. Hall's book, The Secret Teaching of All Ages, great book, by the way. If you can have the means in which to actually get a hard copy, this is a freaking delightful book. It is a book that should be on your nightstand because that's where it is with mine. I love reading this book. It is, hey, Mary Wins, how you doing? It is just, to me, it is a delight. There is, Deborah said, Robert V said maybe blue waves. Yeah, I believe it can be. But we were just going with the standard shapes, but we'll get better at it. You do. My wife helps me practice, Lynn. So that which makes it really cool because, you know, you got a witness. It's like, you know, when you hit like, you know, 95%, you know, particular time. Yeah, that's really pretty cool. Okay. But anyway, I want to bring this out because this is really kind of cool. So in the section that he writes in here, under the section of the gnomes, it's quite interesting that these beings, these life forms, they do exist. We've been taught, you know, modern man is really a dumbass. I mean, we're not the sharpest tack in the box anymore. Modern man gave his sovereignty up to that which he created, and it rules our lives. But gnomes, I want this. It said the elementals who dwell in the attenuated body of the earth, which is called the terrace, ether, are grouped together under general headings of gnomes. The name is probably derived from the Greek genomus, meaning earth dweller. All right, this is the cool part. Just as there are many types of human beings evolving through the objective physical elements of nature, so there are many types of gnomes evolving through the subjective ethereal body of nature. These earth spirits work in an element so close in vibratory rate to the material earth that they have immense power over its rocks and flora, and also over the mineral elements in the animal and human kingdoms. Some, like the pygmies, work with the stones, gems, and metals, and are supposed to be the guardians of hidden treasures. They live in caves, far down in what the Scandinavians called the land of the Nibelungen. In Wagner's wonderful opera cycle, The Ring of the Nibelungen, Albrecht makes himself king of the pygmies and forces these little creatures to gather for him the treasures concealed beneath the surface of the earth. The point here is there is a gnosis that validates what I started coming to certain conclusions years ago. We're not all human in the sense that we're not all the same on the inside. There are many that walk among us, and even that becomes subjective because you have to define who us is. And, depending on your point of view, that can be divisive in its position. But the thing is, not all humans have souls. There are a lot that don't even have what we would define as a spirit, but yet there is an essence, an energy that inhabits that body. And the point here is that, so how deep does the difference go? Well, it goes pretty deep. Everything evolves. There's nothing that is static. Everything is dynamic in its nature. Just as there are many types of human beings evolving through the objective physical elements of nature. Wow. I meditated on that and, came across it. I guess I was reading Friday night, and it's one I keep coming back to because there's something really deep here. And if you have the book, great. Encourage you to buy it. If you don't, I do have the PDF, of which you are more than welcome to. You should have it. It's great reading. All right. Let me just stop the share there for a second. And as he goes over here, and all right. So much going on. All right. Got that lined up. Cool. Wasn't Brandon just a lot of fun yesterday? There's a lot of knowledge. I went back and re-listened to that. Wow. I tell you, in spite of how dark it may be, out there, in some points of view, there is a lot of bright lights. Wow. At his age, 25, I mean, those are your invincible years. Bob Seger wrote about it like a rock. I mean, it's sad because the curse that we're under, the geneticists that screwed up our life ability, humans should live to be well over 5,000-6,000 years old, 10,000 years. There's really no reason for the cells in our body to ever deplete. But they do. We know that. We know that they went in and jacked our genetic code. And then on top of that, as we all have talked about before, and I've talked to it so many times here, is that they dummied us down. The average, do you know that there are high schoolers graduating who cannot read or write? They can't do simple math. But they're exceptionally bright where user interfaces are concerned. They rely on the machine to think for them. That's a danger and precedent. But it gets to the point. Our IQs should be going up. Instead, they're regressing. And that just sucks. I just got to tell you, it just sucks any way you look at it. Yeah. So here we are. And I find it more than curious that the knowledge that's coming out is being picked up by that generation of Brandons. It's fantastic. He said he was born in 96. I mean, yeah. I look back at what I was doing in 96 and I'm going, yeah. So I think there's great hope in this. I hope it spreads, Brandon, amongst your generation, because you guys, if you plug into this, if you really, as like Brandon, he understands egregores, once you get it in here, yeah, it becomes pretty interesting, the conversations that you have with yourself, because now you can go and say, are you really alone there? Is it really your thoughts? How do you know it's your thoughts? How do you know that you can prove yourself? It's interesting. Let's go, Brandon. I'm sure he's probably heard that, John. I don't know. probably a couple 100,000 times, right? But I love it. Hey, Danny, how are you? How is the youngin? Good to see you. Jenny, good to see you, dear. You're going to be on tomorrow, right? Yeah. Hey, TL Clark, what's up? Crafty Child, square card. No, it's the wavy line card. Hey, Amy, good to see you. The convoluted universe. Yeah. And you think about it, how when I come across this, it's like, I'm a kid again in a candy store. There's so much. And it becomes the physicist conundrum, the donkey syndrome. If you put a donkey equally spaced between two bales of hay, what happens? Well, most likely there is a theory that says the donkey will starve to death. Yeah. Hey, Gaia, who could ever be bored? I know. Hey, Paul from Newcastle. Globe Blair, good to see you. And thanks for hitting the like button. Thanks for hitting the subscribe button. I guess we still got to do those things. Feed the machine, the algorithm, right? Feed the machine. So, egregores, thought forms. And it's amazing when you do the analysis, they're everywhere. I have a sigil right here that was made by one of the Soul Tribe members. This is prosperity. As you look at cars now you're getting it. The sigil is an extension of an egregore. It carries its influence. It's what marketing and advertising is all about. It's why you use the three basic colors: red, black, yellow. I think boredom is dissatisfaction. That's an interesting take, Joe. Yeah. Guys, the donkeys are so sweet and protective of the herd. And I'm not saying anything bad about it. It's just that physicist, it's Schrodinger's cat. Is the cat dead or alive? Don't know. Nina says, in case you've missed her show yesterday, check it out. Learning is never ending. Paul Joe, you're absolutely right. It's fascinating. And when you begin to look at this, so are we better off for knowing or not knowing? And how do we interpret knowledge from one person to the other? I mean, we all like to think that we learn at the same rate. Well, we don't. It's what makes us unique. I am. At least I think I am. There you go, man. Keep as cool as you can. They are. So let's get on with this. The energy is phenomenal. I do love this group. It is so full of positivity. And folks, join tomorrow. We're going to be talking about what we're going. And even if you're not participating, it's cool. At least you can still follow along. I mean, yeah. I like listening to a band. I don't have to play in the band, but I like what the band plays. Yeah. Hey, AK Morningstar, what's up? Scotty boy, good to see you. Knowledge does come with responsibility. Absolutely. And I agree. So is that Naka? Nayaka? Yeah, I agree. If Solomon did live, as he wrote in the book of Ecclesiastes, with knowledge comes great sorrow. The more you know, wisdom is birthed out of the sorrow that knowledge brings forth. It's interesting because do we say that we've reached a certain level of ascension when you can get to the point and realize there's neither good nor bad? there's not evil, there's not holiness. Those are all constructs. Now, you can get into that construct and build a whole universe within it. It still doesn't change the fact. When you can get above dualism, I think that's where freedom really is. Anyway, it's just my opinion. Hey, Cynthia, what's up? Chris, good to see you. William, good to see you. A wise man is also a lonely man, I was once told. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. Because you know what happens, right? You used to go to a lot of cocktail parties. It's just what you had to do. It was part of the business. And the thing is, no one wants to get into any kind of real conversation, you know? If you have the gift of gab, you'll do quite well. And then you get to that point where you're going, why? You know, what's the point of all this? Amy says, my pet peeve, I'm bored. Well, you can do what I do. I read a lot and put down my thoughts a lot. All right, so let's get rocking and rolling with our main theme by Mark Stevich, Egregores. Love the book. All right, Ambelin and Martintism. Robert Ambelin, 1907 to 1997, lived 90 years old. Yeah, was a French essayist and author of 42 books, some of them written under the pseudonym Offifer. I love this guy. He was leading a member of many Martinist bodies and involved in esoteric Freemasonry, serving as a Grand Master of the Memphis Mayazaram from 1960 until 1985, and ordained a bishop in the Gnostic Universal Church in 1946. I wasn't even aware that there was such a church. But it tells me that there were some pretty advanced people back in when the war was at war. And then it occurred to me that if the world is at war, you know, the people who really have that spiritual path, you're going to really go deeper into that spiritual path. Why? Because the outside doesn't look pretty at all. It's like today, doesn't it? Even during the Nazi occupation of France from 1940 until 45, he was a ceaseless organizer of the esoteric movements in France and abroad. He wrote about areas of esoteric history, theory, and practice. Ambelin's many associations made him directly familiar with the formation, maintenance, and dissolution of egregores. His authority on the matter made him widely cited by both Sadu and Tomberg in their works. The following is from his book, Practical Kabbalah. Got it if you want it. Translated by Piers A. Vaughan from a private circulation. We have the name egregore to a force generated by a powerful spiritual current and later fed at regular intervals, conforming to a rhythm in harmony with the universal life of the cosmos, or to a meeting of entities united by a common characteristic. Do you get that? We give the name egregore to a force generated by a powerful spiritual current and later fed at regular intervals, conforming to a rhythm in harmony with the universal life of cosmos, or to a meeting of entities united by a common characteristic. The invisible. Outside of the physical perception of man, there exist artificial beings generated by devotion, enthusiasm, or fanaticism, which we call egregores. These are the hearts of the great spiritual currents, good or evil. The mystical church, celestial Jerusalem, and the body of Christ, and all such titles are the qualifications which give communion to the egregores of Catholicism. Freemasonry, Protestantism, Islam, and Buddhism have egregores. Great political ideologies have them too. Physically integrated through ritual initiation or through an intellectual adherence to these currents, the affiliated becomes one of its constitutive cells. He augments the power of the egregore through the qualities or faults which he possesses, and in exchange, the egregore isolates him from the external forces of the physical world, and with the collective force it had previously stored, greatly enhanced the feeble means of activity of the man who joins with it. Wow. You see, commentary. This group has an egregore of favor. I speak it every time I come on. That's feeding it. It knows that regularly. And if the video is seen 500 times or 1,500 times, it's being fed regularly. Same thing. Whether it's the company you work for right now, you are feeding that egregore. That company is the fruition of thought. In the business, we call those people founders. Yeah. And what I'm trying to express here is that you do it all the time. All the time. And you can't be free of them. Not in this realm. Not sure what goes on the next one. Instinctively, popular language gives the name of circle to an egregore, thus intuitively expressing the idea of a circuit between the constitutive cell and the egregore, that is to say, between the affiliate and the group. A sort of inner psychic circulation is thereby established. Whoa. Now, if any of this is true, then we do this almost automatically. From the moment we come into this realm until the moment we leave, it appears. I continue. This explains why opponents of such a concept, on studying the origin, nature, and life of this concept, often end by joining with it, or at least by espousing a part of the theories, even without their knowledge. They are connected to a current, which, as it is more powerful than those who are primitively linked to it, carries them unknowingly away from the road that they may imagine they were following. If they were free of any affiliation, this action would only be the more brutal and strong. So even if you disagree with a concept, a belief, an ideology, by acknowledging the fact that you disagree, you're feeding it. So what's the solution? Well, you don't speak it. Be one solution. I think that's what Jack Dorsey is doing now. He's learning to speak very little. There's wisdom in that. But look at that. I mean, and then look at this. They are connected to a current. Right now, each of us are connected to a current. This group, this thing we call the soul tribe, that's an egregore. When you think about it, we've created quite a few of them. which, as it is more powerful than those who are primitively linked to it. It carries them unknowingly away from the road that they imagined they were following. Man, this is some deep, deep. According to Amelin, the formation of an egregore is described in the works of the spiritual exercises of the Ignatius of Loyola. Ignatius being the founder of the Jesuits. It should also be underscored that egregores are vitalized through rituals. Thus, only human associations can form them. Did you get that? E.T., angels, demons, whatever. They don't have that ability. And isn't it odd that when we talk about this spark of divinity, how Lilith taught us that Samuel desired it. He couldn't possess it. And it drove him mad that we got it. Now, if you could control that which generates it, there was a movie called The Lathe of Heaven, and it was predicated on this very theme. A young man who was having problems, he went to a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist discovered that what he thought, everything became. Great movie. If you get a chance, go watch it. So let's continue. The corollary is that the destruction of an egregore rapidly occurs with the death by fire of its living members and the destruction of its ritual and paraphernalia. Without these material supports and the emotional, psychic energy they provide, the astral egregore will wither and die. Incineration is required so as not to shed blood. The medium of occult vitality, the life is in the blood, particularly if it's released in ritualistic. I think we ought to read that again. So Ignatius says, and listen, the Jesuits, if you underestimate those characters, then they're alive and well today, still very, very rich. And there's a reason for it, as we talked yesterday with Brandon. There are powerful egregores that you yourself can begin to connect to. It's what we did with the angels. It should be underscored that egregores are vitalized through rituals, thus only human associations can form them. The corollary is that the destruction of an egregore rapidly occurs with the death by fire of its living members. Someone has been wanting to know about this. Now you have another key. Death by fire of its living members and the destruction of its ritual and the paraphernalia. Without these material supports and the emotional, psychic energy they provide, the astral egregore will wither and die. Incineration is required so as not to shed blood, the medium of occult vitality, particularly if its release is ritualistic. However, because one can experience a profound backlash upon leaving by choice or through excommunication, Amelin suggests that one temporarily seeks shelter in an equivalent but opposite power. Just as physical associations exist because of membership, so egregores exist because of the entities or beings that they attract on the astral plane. The power to attract, to compel, and maintain these entities is a direct result of the rituals and sacrifices performed for them by their earthly adherents. Again, all egregores exist on three levels: material, astral, and celestial. It's almost as if we're playing a game of three-dimensional chess here. Now, I don't know many people that think in three different planes of existence at the same time. Not saying that they don't. Not even sure. Well, I guess you could say maybe we're approaching that, and maybe there are masters who have gotten that. Apparently there are. But to begin to expand our consciousness and begin to see anything that happens on the physical, we have to begin to immediately associate what's taking place in the astral and what's taking place in the celestial, because there obviously is. Now, the question that I was taught through the masters of the religion that I was in, that nothing happens in the physical unless it is done in the spiritual. Spiritual could be defined now as both astral and celestial. In many religions, they blend these, and it's easier because you have the dualistic, the material, and the spiritual. Now, I guess it becomes a question, how versed are you speaking to spirits? How versed are you to bind them, to loose them? I think the same thing could be said with, instead of spirits, egregores. Because apparently, as we're going to learn, egregores can be controlled. If you take the thought that an angel or divine ones, demons, are nothing more than thought forms manifested through the physical, through the ethereal construct of their constitution. Yeah. We continue. For this reason, any interruption in the performance of the ritual will have an equally disruptive effect on the vitality of the egregore. We all go through this. I mean, we don't play childhood games anymore as adults. Why? Well, we grew out of that. Well, that means we grew out of that egregore, and most likely that egregore either moved on to another human or was in fact died on the vine. Thus, rituals after a certain period of time cannot be modified without weakening the egregore, making secrecy all the more critical. Rituals composed of secret names, words, and formulae to awaken and establish the egregore are also directed around specific astrological events to coordinate the celestial and cosmic cycles. It is not by accident that the equinox and solstice rituals play such an important part in many organizations. However, in larger movements, wherein the mass of the faithful provide a certain amount of vital power, this power is passive. The active quality and quantity of energy comes from those most capable and dedicated in their practice. It is for this reason that regardless of all claims to the contrary, there can be no eglaism, I messed up this word every time. Y'all can see it. Others are listening going, no, we can't. Egregorialism isn't an occult movement or in any spiritual movement for that matter, as the leadership or inner circle will be in charging, maintaining, and directing the egregore. Yeah, I know someone's going to write me on that. Just save your time. It is who the Steiger is. That's all I can tell you, and we love it. Patrick Zalewski, also a well-known adept we mentioned earlier, has described the formation, growth, and even mutation of an egregore by using the metaphor of a honeycomb. In a private correspondence with the present author, he writes, "Think of a ritual or belief where the overall boundaries encompass the core components and support mechanisms are vitalized, as the interior of a beehive or honeycomb with its numerous cell divisions. While a number of cell divisions can occur or even change, As long as they maintain the core principles, then the same egregore is simply being tweaked. However, there is a tipping point, and once that is reached, then something will change into something else. An example of this in the Golden Dawn system is the different letters of the Enochian tablets. The tablets work even with the various letters changed. You can also apply this paradigm to general ritual. It is a case of measuring comparative difference when they are minor and it does not matter, and when they are major, well, then it does matter. On a psychic level, egregores are anthropomorphized images of the concept at hand. For instance, peace, war, love, wealth, and nation are all just ideas that are created through visualization and vitalized through regular ritualized emotion, and finally made concrete through a specialized sign or symbol. Sigils. These signs or symbols are no different from the logo of a company, brand, or product, which are themselves lesser or greater egregores. Just as a logo acts as a form of legal protection for the company and its employees who work together for a common cause, so too does the sigillum, the magical sign, the sigil, or seal of an egregore, can act as an identifying, guiding, and protecting force of its members. I think about all the companies in my history, startups particularly, even coming in and doing turnarounds, logos, brand identity. Branding your identity was key. How quickly would a customer recognize your logo? And then this is where the magic happens, be able to immediately, psychically, telepathically pick up on what your branding message is. The best to you each morning. I mean, I could go through a litany of them. And if any of you have worked, which in this group, I'm sure, because many of you are graphic designers, those in a ad agency, you hire to establish the company's logo, its brand. Now I get it. I wish I'd gotten it back then a little bit more, because holy crap, Batman, I could have done things that, wow. Still can do them. It's just my passion is not there anymore. This is such vital information. If for those of you who are grasping it, it's life-changing. It will literally change your freaking life. Wow. We continue. Yet this relationship does not last forever. Egregores that have existed for a period of time will become independent and no longer obey their earthly masters. An egregore may easily turn into a fierce tyrant and cause its associated organizations or movement to deviate from its original purpose. Thus, to conquer an egregore, one must first evoke it. This may explain why some esoteric groups have a built-in lifespan or expiration date, as with the Rosicrucian cycle of the opening and closing of the vault. The egregore may be an essential mechanism or tool, but for the movement to maintain control over its own egregore and continuity of mission, it must go through periods of activity and rest, as do human beings. Wow. So, what a chapter. I mean, what this paragraph, just think about it. So they exist for a period of time, and then the stronger they become, they'll become independent. And he gets into this later, but I mean, it's mind-blowing when you think about the implications of this. I mean, it's how one political party can start out in one particular platform, and then through the evolution of that party, it completely flip, becoming the opposite of what it initially was. Now you understand. So it becomes independent and no longer obeys its earthly masters. And it says easily, it doesn't say they will, but they may easily turn into a fierce tyrant against the organization. I mean, these are key points to understand as we get into our manifestation. Now, this may be something to think about. We may want to put a expiration date. Very interesting. But it's also interesting in the aspect that they require rest. In summary, the formation of an egregore is identical to all magical operations where an effect in the material world is desired. In the process, incense, signs and symbols, the visualization of concrete images, the formation of magical chains, and a mental current fortified with emotional desire are ritual enacted on a regular basis. While the number of members assures a certain amount of physical life for an egregore, it is the regular and proficient performance of its rituals combined with the spiritual union of its members that give it strength. Thus, secrecy must be maintained as far as it is possible, as well as the generating of goodwill, approval, and even passive support for the egregore from those who know about it but are not members of the associated group. The necessity of general goodwill, or at least neutrality towards an egregore, is understood most clearly when we see the actions of egregores upon each other on the astral plane. This action is most powerful between countries, religions, political parties, or any area where there is direct competition. French mystic Paul Steiger describes the combat between egregores. The following from Steiger's book Initiations is a conversation between the doctor, a seeker of occult knowledge, and Andreas, who holds that knowledge. Andreas speaks first. Great historic catastrophes, as you now must have seen, have not had less futile causes. One must therefore pay attention to them if one is to intervene usefully in any way. We French have a greater right and duty than anybody to love our country in every way. If, doctor, you have any awareness of the invisible realm, you must have seen how much light and beauty has come to Europe through France in spite of the follies of some of its sons and misdemeanors of its princes. Ingratitude is not the prerogative only of men. The beings that the grandiose Alpheus Lavi called egregores also possess this fault. The egregores of other nations have no concern for our own country. On the contrary, they'd very much like to dominate or even destroy it and enrich themselves from the spoils. And the adversary, who's on the watch for every chance of a quarrel, helps us much as he can. In three persons about whom we are talking, he found a marvelous field of opportunity. All three had neither country nor religion. Their God was just themselves, and the invisible forces sought to profit from the egotistic passions of these three, who held in their hands the most powerful levers of social life to bring down our country. I am beginning to understand, I said, but if I am not being indiscreet, are you thinking of intervening in this coalition? Certainly, doctor. Isn't it my duty if Providence has given me the means? Going to stop there because the next part is for next week, politics and the occult. Wow. The knowledge of this. If a person was out to start a company, this is a way you can do it in a manner that you can be assured of success. Because I can assure you that most of the companies that are startups, that where great ideas are born, they go strictly on the passion of the idea, never realizing that in the astral and the celestial, there are forces at work. Now, the coming together of a group of people like we're doing is powerful. Think of it about this. It's about 85. I think it's on that list. Imagine that being a startup. Powerful. There have been political organizations that have started with less, that ended up dominating countries. It's fascinating. And we know that there are two paths. The reason why I have enthusiasm about this project, and we'll be talking about it tomorrow, is I know many of the individuals. I don't know them personally. None of my business on that aspect, but I know their energy. And that energy has the passion for humanity. Because if we can't help someone else, what's the purpose? If we can't heal someone else, what's the purpose? If we can't bring unity, then what's the purpose? If we have the ability to tap into a power that is beyond the comprehension of most people, even when they form groups, and we have the gnosis now, we have a greater responsibility now. This is not child's play. Now, there have been a couple people who said, well, thought about this, and I'm glad they did. They said, I decided not to. There's nothing wrong with that. Nothing at all. It's wisdom. But those of us who go forward on this, they'll be the benefactor of that as well. They're going to be able to see. It's exciting. I mean, I feel like we're going on an expedition that we have a pretty good idea where X on the spot is on the map, you know, and we're in that right direction. Good. For anyone else, walking water? Yeah. You know, this is how things change. And I can assure you, the angelics are very much aware of what's taking place. I know a number of them that have already formed that circle around us. Because there was some rough water here. Many of you may not know this, but yeah, there was an opportunity for division, but didn't allow it to happen. And that was a confirmation for me that this is how powerful this group has grown. So anyway, wow. Interesting. Arcrael, that is very interesting how the CEOs in Japan work. It would make sense. And maybe there are many other companies today that did start. They just didn't let anyone know. So, beloved abstract, no, they didn't leave you out. You got to just be enthusiastic, my friend. That's all. You're in the circle, man. If you're in this group, and I know you are, it's like being in the swimming pool. You can't help but not get wet. It's just Just a fact. Everybody here gets wet. And the water's great, you know? Yeah. All right, folks, join me tomorrow. And going to have a great guest. We're going to have the normal club, but we're bringing Francis on. We're going to be talking about this. This is the whole thing. This is kind of the kickoff of what Sunday will be all about. And we chose May 1st. There was a reason for that astrologically. So, yeah, I'm the part of the stay down free. It's okay. Courtney Mack, you just read that. Well, if I'm reading it, I didn't see it unless we're on the delay here. All right, when slippery, when wet. Hey, listen, you're going to walk around the pool, you know, you got to expect to get wet, right? All right, folks, laugh. Learn to laugh. It does the heart as a good medicine. It will help heal those spots. If you suffer from joint discomfort and what have you, learn to laugh. It helps the marrow. Do you talk to your marrow? You should. Anyway, okay. Yeah, we're on tomorrow, Nina. We're just going to be talking about this. That's what we're going to be talking about. So yes, the ladies are going to be here. I'll just have one more male counterpart. That's all. All right, I'm off to spend the day, take care of some other things first, and then off to spend time with my wife and celebrating her day of my gratefulness for her coming into this realm. So everyone, love yourselves, form a circle around you and those that you love. Join this circuit, plug into the circuit. We're adaptable. We'll take all different types of plugs. It's all right. We're universal. So plug in and light up. I just thought about that. That can be construed in the number. Well, take it any way that you want. All right, folks, much love, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right.